Ruby Rose. Oh my God, there was so much drama about Batwoman. People didn't like the show. There was a lot of rumours of problems on set. Ruby Rose got injured. Another person got injured who was now quadriplegic, I think. And then she left the show. And supposedly she left the show because she didn't want to work the long hours, or then I heard that she was allergic to the bat suit, and it just was very strange. And now, after a bit of a wait, probably till the NDA's expired, we have Ruby Rose coming out and saying, here's the truth. Basically, I want to get it all out. Here, I'm throwing everyone on blast. Basically, she didn't quit. She was fired. She said the working conditions were horrible. They didn't respect her at all. They didn't allow her to have enough time to recover from some serious operations. She had broken ribs, she had a broken back, a neck that could have caused her to be paralysed. She had a cut near her eye. She had all these things happen, and they didn't give her enough time to recover from. And she's saying, people saying I was stiff, or I didn't give a good performance. How would you give a good performance if you've only had 10 days to recover from major surgery? And she had photos of her in the hospital and everything. So basically, she also accused the production of being incredibly not really taking care of the actors' safety. And she listed the stunt people that they lost. One guy had his face burned, apparently the skin came off, and then they had to go and do a love scene after that. And no one got therapy. They basically just were running them like a machine and wanted to run right through COVID. They had to be stopped down. They didn't stop themselves. They had to be shut down. And she basically said, I didn't quit. I was fired for all these reasons. These people are not professional. They treated me horribly, and I would never go back. So please, fans are asking me, will I go back or to go back? Stop, I'm never going to go back. So, yeah, that's all very weird and interesting because we thought there was more to this, and it looks like there was. But then came the response from Warner. Of course, Warner Brothers eventually responded. It's been, I think, a day or two. And they did the very basic, it's false. Basically, they said, we chose to not renew her contract. That was our option. And so they basically acknowledged that she didn't quit. She was fired, essentially, by them not, renewing her contract for season 2. And they basically have some crew members telling a bunch of very generic stories about her being a diva. Oh, she showed up late. She was, based on rumour, based on messages from friends of hers or things from apps, whatever, she was basically out partying and taking drugs and not being professional, and she treated her assistants like they were beneath her, and she didn't talk to any of the members of the crew. Basically just saying she was a diva, and I'm like, well, they were saying she was a diva in relation to why she was late when she showed up on set, why she couldn't do her work. She's proven she was sick and she was in hospital. She's got the x-rays, she's got the photos, she's got the footage of her in the hospital. So them trying to undermine that and pretend like, oh, she wasn't really sick, she was just being a lazy diva, basically, and that's why we fired her. I'm believing her, not the studio. And the studio, Warner Brothers, doesn't have a very good track record with its stars. What they did with Cyborg, the way they treated him, and yeah, so I'm on her side. I'm not really believing any of these diva stories, and they don't explain away the real issues like her health problems and all the accidents on set. It really does sound like it wasn't the most safe or professional environment. It doesn't sound like they really took care of their crew and their actors. So I'm on Team Ruby, and that's probably because, no, it's not just because I'm Australian too. I was going to try and joke about that. I seriously don't believe that this was just a matter of a diva, because let's be real, divas get tolerated in Hollywood. They get to throw tantrums and get all the star treatment because they're the star. So you don't get rid of someone because of something like that. So I really believe it was bigger issues than that. And I think that was it. Basically, they had no real direct response to all of her complaints. They basically said, well, she was unprofessional. What did they actually say? How did they term it? Why can't I find it? A workplace behaviour, and they did extension reviews. There were multiple complaints that they did extensive reviews of, and they basically are accusing her of being a diva because she supposedly could only do 60% of the stunt work or the active work because of her supposed injuries. They imply that she wasn't really sick. It's all kind of low, I think, on the studio's part. I really think that she had medical problems. There were problems on the set with injuries. I really don't think she's not making these things up. So for these things to happen, there have to be some issues. And who would want to work in that sort of environment where you don't get time to recover, where you have to get like an Uber to the studio because you can't drive because you just had an operation, they're making you come back to work, and basically saying if you don't come back to work, they're going to fire the whole crew and you'll be responsible for all these people being out of work. And I've heard people who are the star of a show getting that sort of pressure put on them, which doesn't help them perform. It really is, yeah. So I'm on Team Ruby. I'm not Team Warner Brothers. I'm totally believing her, and mostly because she stayed quiet for so long. She must have had an NDA, and that's why she couldn't say anything, and now she can. Otherwise, she would have been spinning stuff the whole time trying to make herself look good. And also the other little thing that came out was when she didn't turn up to that convention, that was because she wasn't allowed to go because of work, but they had her basically, instead of them announcing it and taking responsibility, they had her take responsibility for it. There's another thing she accused them of, because we were all watching that, and most people accused her of doing that just to get out of doing the questionnaires because there were so many critics of the show. But it does look like they just wouldn't let her go because of work, and they didn't care about the fans or how bad she'd look by not showing up, and they basically put it all on her instead of announcing it themselves. I do believe that. I believe everything she said pretty much. She's probably making herself sound a little bit better than she was. Like, I'm sure she wasn't the perfect, most actors, they have egos, and even if they're not, they're working long hours, they're stressed, so she wouldn't have been perfect, but nothing would have justified firing your lead in the middle of a season. So I don't believe that happened. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. There were a lot of statements and a lot of posts that she put up, a lot of Instagram posts and that, and I wasn't going to read through all those, but everyone else has been reading through them for their videos, and it takes a long time. It's pretty much easy to state. And yeah, I'm done. Thanks.